Matt Cullum, film director and editor. Matt Cullum is an award-winning film director and editor whose impressive career includes collaborations with major platforms such as Netflix, MTV, Buzzfeed, the BBC, Sky, and Spotify. He began his journey in radio production before transitioning into television and film, a move that led him to discover his true creative calling. Throughout his work, Matt places a strong emphasis on diversity, ensuring that everyone both behind and in front of the camera feels represented and valued on his sets. It's an experience that shapes his deep appreciation for the craft and a collaborative effort that brings every project to life, the skills, the values he continues to carry into his work today. I will note there are a number of technical issues on this day. The audio will change halfway through, so please stick with us as it's a great conversation and a great vibe. Welcome to The Art of the Graft. My name is Chantal Burndam, your host. This is a podcast and a safe space for people in production, different backgrounds, minorities, and ethnicities. Today, I have a wonderful guest. I'm very proud to have Matt Cullum with me.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Nice to see you again.
You too. How's the day been?
It's been good, yeah. I've been working across a few different edits for the wonderful After Party Studios, which has been great. I was on a shoot with them last week and have been across that all day, which has been great. It's really fun.
Nice.
Really
it's been lovely to have you here with us today. And again, thank you so much for joining this podcast. I massively appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome.
I'm very excited as well because you were one of the first people I worked with when I first started here.
Was I really?
Yeah, you were.
I didn't realise you were so kind of fresh to the...
Still very green.
Okay.
Very, very green. But working with you was my first brand thing. So that was the Netflix and the Mind charity shoot that we did, wasn't it?
Yes, yeah, the infomercial we did for that Netflix charity campaign last year, which was a load of fun. Yeah. Very... I wouldn't say it was a stressful day, actually. It felt really chill. Weirdly, I came off that shoot being like, damn, it's not usually that easy. It's normally I come off like feeling very frazzled and frantic and just being like pulled in about 20 different directions.
Yeah.
But no, that one was really, really nice. Felt great.
No, it was lovely. Again, it's I'm hoping to work with you at some point again soon.
Oh, we will. Don't worry, we will, I'm sure.
Put you on the books.
Yeah. Please, put in a good word.
So, I mean... I've given you a short brief about the podcast and sort of why I started it. It's a really big thing to have you on here. I do think it's important to have your voice and have people know about you as well as a person, as a director, as someone who's in production. But firstly, I'd love to start with, what was your first entry into production?
God, how far back are we going?
Way back.
We'll go way back. I'm 33 years old.
33 years young.
33 years young, yeah, exactly. Don't look at it. So I started, I guess I technically started at uni when I was like 18, 19. I was like very involved in the student TV and radio stations.
Okay.
So I used to actually want to be a presenter for a long time. Tried it out, was pretty good at it actually. Like I got nominated for a NASTA award, like a...
What's a NASTA award?
It's a national student TV awards, basically.
Okay.
Found it a funny bit of trivia actually. It was the same year that, you do watch Drag Race, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
So it was the same year that Tia Coffey was also up for Best On-Screen Male. Me and Tia were up against each other. There's obviously the winner and there's highly commended. I won highly commended.
Okay.
So I basically runner up, but still got a trophy for it somehow.
Yeah.
Tia got nothing. So, but funny, but now obviously Tia does. Tia had not been born yet. This was Tia's, Tia's alter ego.
Yeah.
So we met there. That was the first time we met. So I've known Tia for like 15 years, and now she's obviously extremely famous, has won Drag Race, and I'm here. So
I love Tia.
So she actually stayed in front of the camera and performer, is now a winner of Drag Race, and I went behind it. So I've worked with Tia several times actually. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, we still chat. So yeah. So God, that's a massive tangent. This is going to be me. It's going to be me all the way. So that's how I got into it, and then I kind of learned a little bit of, because when you're doing student stuff, like you're just doing a bit of everything. So it's like where I learned how to picked up a camera for the first time, had previously no interest in it whatsoever.
Oh, okay.
It's a camera. I'm not one of those directors who's like, oh, I wanted to do it since I was, you know, when you're like, oh, I wanted to do it since I was like 5. No, like, you're like, yeah, never. I wanted to be a vet, all these things.
Yeah.
But just realized I really liked it. And I think it was, radio was really my first thing that I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I loved radio. And, so I did a lot of that at uni, and then I graduated and I was like, right, I'm going to go find a radio job. So I went to, I applied for Global, which is the owner of like Capital FM, Heart FM, XFM, Magic, various different things. And I got an internship there, which was great. But I got I got put in the video team, which I was I was like, because they knew I could edit and produce. And so they were like, oh, can you come on for that? And I was like, yeah, fine. Seeing it as my way into radio. And then when I was there, I asked, can I produce a radio show? And they said yes. I went and helped produce. Do you remember Margarita Taylor, the presenter? So she was on Heart FM at the time. So on Sundays I used to go in and work with her.
Oh, nice.
And so that was paid, I think, but the internship was not at the time. Boo.
What was the pay like back then?
Terrible. It was, I think, my first. That was unpaid for 3 months. The capital.
3 months.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very lucky in the sense that I'm from London and my parents live in Southeast London. So it was. I could do it, which was great. Because my parents could not afford to, like, I'm from a very working class family, and so like they couldn't afford to put me up anywhere. It just like happens to be that they live in London, and it's like it was great. So that was my first entry in, which was it was I learned a lot in that job. Mm-hmm. Did I have to do a lot more than I think an intern should? Yes. But I did learn a lot from it. Yeah. And actually, they offered me a job after 3 months, but that pay was like 16 grand a year. So it was quite low. Yeah.
I mean, it's still something, but that is, I mean, you couldn't live off that now.
Yeah, no, you couldn't. No. At the time I could just, and I was still living at home. Yeah. And then I got a slight bump, and that's when I moved out. So, that was my first job.
Amazing.
It was all right though.
It's like, also a really fun job for your first job.
It was. But they did kind of like, I don't want to say take advantage, because that's very accusatory.
It is when you're young.
Inflammatory for a podcast. But like, I did have to like, I remember like literally producing a show for like a JLS. Do you remember JLS?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. We got them to come in. Oh, did I? I don't think I produced it, but I definitely like. I was like editing the whole show, and I'm like, I'm an intern. Like, I know I'm good at editing, but it was like I should have been paid for that. Yeah, because that was like a you remember when they used to have like a MTV and like basically music TV stations where you'd have like TV music videos on TV. So basically, Capital and Heart had one. So it's Capital TV, Heart TV, and I got brought on to do that, basically to make it for that TV channel. And it's quite a lot of work. And they would just this was back in 2013. So digital video was just starting to blossom. Right. Okay. So I ended up doing a lot for that as well. But primarily it was for the TV station. But it certainly was I learned a lot on that job.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
I do think, and I this isn't to everyone in production, but I think there is moments where when someone notices that you can do certain skills and they don't have to pay for it, unless you say something, they're not going to pay for it. Yeah. Then it's so awkward sometimes having those conversations of like, you should be paying me for this at the same time.
What am I you just can't, can you? Like, I don't have any connections in the industry. Like, I don't know. Like, I got it through, I just applied. Like, I just got it through, I don't know, just luck, and also having done the stuff at uni that I already had the edit skills. They were basic, but I kind of knew some stuff already. Yeah. So it was obviously quite appealing for them to bring in someone who kind of, they have to train up. They do have to train up, and they did, but like don't have to do as much work, right? Yeah. And so you can't say anything at that. And I was in a very like masculine environment, and I'm not a very masculine person. And at the time I hadn't come out. So I was kind of a little bit like terrified, to be honest, because I was like with these people that you know, when it's your first entry into the world of work, and it's like, first of all, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to act in a workplace. I'm in the closet around these like a bunch of really masculine, a very masculine environment. Yeah, really nice guys. Like, I still chat to a lot of them, but like it was very intimidating. And for me to even bring up like, yeah, I should be getting paid. Like, it just wouldn't. Yeah. And back in, I feel like the conversation with paid internships has moved on quite a lot. I don't know what the landscape is now. But I think it's much more of I imagine more people are paid for their internships, right? Yeah. Whereas back in that time, it was like that you just wouldn't get paid for it. Yeah. And it wasn't even that long ago.
Be lucky you've got the job kind of energy. Yeah.
It was. And it wasn't even that long ago. We're only talking like, this is 12 years ago. Yeah. So it's hardly, 12 years ago this month, actually it was. And it's like, not that long ago. Yeah. And like, the discussions were being had, but like this was kind of like just at the advent of social media becoming, I know it was a thing at the time, but it's
not as big.
Yeah. You weren't having these discussions that now like younger generations are having about boundaries in the workplace and being paid. I feel like I got in, luckily I got in a time when I could get that, but also we weren't having we didn't have that we didn't feel empowered in that way that I feel like people do now. Yeah. With all the work about quiet quitting and, I don't know how old are you?
32.
You're 32. So you're basically same age as me. So I don't know if you feel the same, but we weren't having these discussions back in, it was like, as you said, you've got a job, you've got an entry into the media industry. You should feel lucky for it because, I don't know, did you have any connections when you first got into it?
I went for the Sidemen before.
Oh yeah, but before that you didn't have any.
As in when I was a teen, way back then, no,
neither did I. And it's just like you are treated as like, well, most people would kill to have this job. Yeah, should like be quiet and do your work. Yeah, and even when I was an intern, like they're making me work overtime. It was
like... not getting paid for it? Or...
No, I wasn't getting paid for any of it. And so like...
but I mean like any time back or anything like that?
No. So it was like, obviously it was adjacent to the music industry, and a lot of the music industry events happen after, for the Brit Awards, for example. I'd be working that. You'd be lucky to get some time off in lieu, but not
it's
really.
It's got free labour.
Basically. It was like... And the thing is, the team, I wouldn't want to... the team were really lovely, and and they actually trained me up really nicely, and like I thank them a lot for how I was treated, and as a first job, it was pretty good. But it was more the company and more the culture. It was just shit. Like, but what are you going to do? I was grateful to at the time. I was just grateful to have anything. Like straight out of uni, I got an internship.
Yeah, I want to ask with your first job, you talk about the people that you worked with that gave you a sense of community and actually you felt yourself with. Was there any moments that you didn't feel like you had that? Or did you feel like it was always there for you, that you could actually be yourself in that workspace?
Well, I didn't really feel like I could be myself at the start because I was, a gay man, barely out of, still very young, and I hadn't come out at the time. And so I was a little bit like, like I'm just... And going into, radio is a very masculine environment. Yeah. And TV, production can be as well, right? I think it's a little bit better. Yeah. Certainly it's better now, but radio, like I was working on desks with people who were XFM, like rock, like really like masculine energy. And like, radio in the 90s was just like, there was no filter. It was just like, I was coming in as a pretty scared 21-year-old who felt like he had a secret to hide. But, quite, and I remembered going down to toilet and just being, and just like crying and just being like, I can't, but, it's such a common story that we have where it's like, I was going down there and just thinking, I just don't like, I feel like they think I'm awful. Right. And that I just feel so out of place here, and I'm not a shy person, but it made me feel really shy and nervous, and I think they were starting to pick up on it, and they were like, oh, I was quite quiet, and it's like I'm not anyone who knows me is I'm not a quiet person at all, but there I felt very quiet because I couldn't be myself. But then eventually I came out like a few months into the job, and they were so lovely and supportive, and actually everything got better after that, which was great. And it often it does, right, when you kind of like feel like you can be your true self, but sometimes you have to kick down that door yourself, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, no, we're totally fine with it, and I'm like, yeah, but I thought you weren't.
Yeah. And it's quite sad that that's immediately where your head goes.
Yeah.
But it's like we also live in a society. Well, I mean, again, it's changing a lot now. But before, even I remember being told, you got to diet down a little bit, and it was just like, okay, so I can never be myself in. If I worked in hospitality, if I worked in retail, like, it took years until I was in my early 20s or like mid 20s to find a job where I was like, oh, I can just be the kooky, funny, weird me and not feel like I'm being judged for it or I'm being looked upon in a certain way. But Not, I still think there's a part of people that they still struggle with it, and I think it's up to these production companies, to be fair, any company, to create those safe spaces. Because I'll be honest with you, APS is probably the only company that I've worked for that I've been truly 100% authentically myself, in the sense of, if I'm scared, I can tell someone. If I'm worried about something, I can tell. If I fucked up, I can tell someone. And I'm never feeling, I'm going to get judged, I'm going to feel uncomfortable, or I'm just going to get shut on for making a mistake, and then I'm never want to come back to work. I think it's so important to, like I said, create those safe spaces, because we're all human. We're all going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But create that space that someone actually can say, oh, I need to have a chat.
Yeah.
Or I don't feel comfortable about this. I want to talk about this, and just have that open forum.
Yeah, well, I mean, picking up on what you said about the about being able to make a mistake, I think is the most important thing that I never felt like I ever had. Right. In the sense of, like, no one ever. I was so scared of fucking up, and I still have this to this day. Like, I'm always scared of getting found out or making a mistake and everything crumbling down around me. Right.
Yeah.
I'm so worried about that. I remember in Capital, is that I was given so much responsibility so quickly, as like someone who was I literally had not, I'd done like, Saturday jobs and stuff, but I hadn't had started my career yet, right? So I was eager to make a good impression. I was always a very high achiever at school. So I'm just like getting all my self-esteem from like achievement and like, you know how it is, just like trying to impress people all the time. So like the fear of failure has always been the biggest thing, it's my biggest fear. I just can't stand the thought of failing at something. Okay, shall I resume at my
we're rolling
at my story?
Please do.
21 years old. It's a funny story. I was, working at Heart, and boring, but it's like they're based in London and they broadcast all over the country. They're different. And so it's this show called The Big Top 40. Actually, even worse, it's across all their stations. Big Top 40. It's basically like, it's like budget official charts.
Okay.
So it's like, it's based on iTunes downloads rather than actual sales. So it's just iTunes.
Okay.
And I think they launched it as a way to kind of like, commercial radio also needs their own chart show.
Yeah.
Right. So I was doing that, and I basically got left in charge of it. I was in the studio, and they're like, you just need to do these things. But it meant that like you're paying out like multi-million campaign adverts on radio. And I thought I'd sorted it all, and I left, and I got a call just being like, the show's going out without adverts across the country.
Stop.
And they were just having to go at me down the phone. And I was like, I obviously thought the world was ending because I was 21 years old. I thought I'd like lost them millions of pounds, all that stuff. I look back at that now, and I'm just like, why the fuck did you put me in charge of like why the fuck would you put like a 21-year-old?
Yeah,
and it's
so true.
I'm not saying that there's not a lot of wisdom and great work that can't come from people that young.
Yeah,
like you should not be putting in that much responsibility on 21-year-olds' shoulders.
Yeah,
I was like, they're kind of having to go at me down the phone. I think they were kind of like, I think they'd realised I was obviously very young, and they were trying not to like upset me. But it was very kind of like grave, like you really made a mistake here.
Yeah.
And I'm being really upset about it, but then just like, why the fuck? Like, why was I being...
Or at least just QC it. Like, just check it before it goes out. Why would you literally giving it to a kid?
A kid, yeah. I was a kid. I knew nothing. Like, obviously now we've been working in the industry for a while. I know how these things work and how pivotal and like, these things fund people's livelihoods. It's like, well, why am I doing it? Like, I should be, and it was great. It was nice that I was being given so much interesting work, I suppose, but not being paid. I think at that time I was being paid, but it still is like, you should not be putting me in charge of this, babe. Like, I really, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I mean, at that point, it's not your fault at all. for me, it's the people, the people who are giving you these jobs. They're the ones that need to be like, I'll also ask you the question. Do you feel comfortable with this? Are you ready for this?
Yeah. Oh, imagine anyone asking me if I felt comfortable about anything at that time. Never.
Yeah.
Is that doing it?
It never get asked.
No.
Just want to check that you're okay with everything. But no, it's do this, do this, do this, do this.
Never. And also just like presenters having a go at me and like, you know,
that's
I won't name names, but it's like, you know, you get in charge, you put in charge of these things. And just like, why am I in a room with Little Mix? Like basically giving them pointers. I'm like, I'm 21 years old. I know what I'm doing. Like it was mad, but it was a great job. And I learned a lot on it. And, you know, I learned a lot of the skills that I use today in that job. Definitely. Yeah. It was a bit of a baptism of fire, but I do think it's just like, how did I even, but I got a lot of respect for my younger self to kind of just feel like you just don't know, you don't have the context to know that's not okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And no one told me that.
Yeah.
No one told me that. And like, and I think the problem is, it's like, you know, they had gone through that. You know, these people that were 10, 15 years older than me had probably gone through it and worse. That they had the same baptism of fire and the same. But I think something changed around. I think it's us coming up there. I think it's probably social media, right? And it's just like, there's a lot more of a movement and discussion about these things now. So something's changed in the last kind of like 10 years, I'd say, where like, I would hope and think that like people that are 10 years younger than us don't have the same awful experiences.
Yes.
Although they weren't all awful, but like, I hope they don't feel as unsafe, and not physically unsafe, but just kind of like mentally unsafe.
Yeah.
And it's precarious, right? And you feel like you're just going to, if you fuck up, it's just over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's value. I think there's value in the struggle as well.
Yeah.
It's, obviously, you want everyone to have an easier time than you did. I'm not saying I had a really hard time.
Yeah.
But I definitely went through some difficult times. But there's some value in it, because I think it makes you the creative you are today, right? Or the kind of the kind of grafter you are today.
Yeah.
To bring it back to see, I'm not my best on the video. I can direct myself. But yeah, it's just like it's like there's definitely some value in it, because it's just like I you know, you learn a lot from each one. As you say, you learn what you don't like, you learn what you do like, and you start to very, very slowly steer that ship towards what you actually want to do. And I think that's a lifetime's work of. I don't think you eventually get there, but there's always going to be stuff. There's always going to be parts of your work you hate, and sometimes you're going to have to work late, and sometimes I know we all want the utopia where we work our hours and we have these hard boundaries, and we only do the parts of the job we love and all that stuff. And I think that's a lovely thing to work towards. It's a lovely idea, and I wish we had that also. But like, sometimes your own utopia means someone else's hell. Yeah. You know, it's just like, oh, I've put up these boundaries, I've done this, I've done that. I think that's really good, and I think it's really valuable. I think we should be doing more of that. But I think sometimes you putting up your boundaries and saying, I will not do that, makes someone else's job 10 times worse. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's having that balance, isn't it? Of like, sometimes you have to do stuff you don't like. Yeah, it's true. And it's like, we've all had to do it, and we've all worked overtime, and we've all like got. But I think, but then you have to know when you're being taken advantage of. And going above and beyond is becoming the standard for my job, and it shouldn't be like that. You know, it's finding that balance is quite hard. Yeah. Well, again, this is why community is such a big thing. Yeah. I was speaking to a bunch of runners the other day, and I was like, "So how do you guys find jobs?" Because when I was looking for running jobs like years and years ago. It wasn't on Facebook. It was in newspapers and all that kind of stuff. Or like it was on newspapers. Do you remember The Stage? Newspaper? Yeah. That was like what was the website? Is Talent Man still going? Yeah, isn't it? They're still going. Yeah. Yeah. But these communities are so important. But these runners were like, oh, we're all in a WhatsApp group. And there's like 300 of them. Yes, worldwide. Yeah. Yeah, and they all help each other. If they can't do the job, they'll send it to another person. Yeah. They exist for everything. I'm not part of any of them. Yeah. So like I often say that I'll get a message from someone, because I edit still as well sometimes. It's not as often now, but I'll get a message from someone being like, "Oh, your name pops up in a WhatsApp group that I'm in." I'm like, "Did that? What? Okay, great. I mean, like, yeah, I said WhatsApp. Yeah. If you're offering me a job, then I guess it's good. But I'm like, I'm not part of any of these." Yeah, it's incredible. I'm waiting for a PM one. I'm sure it exists somewhere. Yeah, I mean, I don't know any directors, to be honest. Like, it's weird. It's like you think everyone knows each other, but I don't hear that many people. I've never seen anyone else direct in my life.
No way.
I'm just doing it the way I think I should and the way I do it.
I love that though.
Isn't that
really? You've been on some really good projects.
Yeah.
A long time.
I've been some good ones, but it's weird. I've never really properly sat down because, a lot of the time people come up, they've been a runner on set and then done this. I did one runner job in my life, but I went straight to editing. Okay. So I was in the edit bay most of my career, right, before directing. And so I got to watch people direct through rushes that came through, but I never actually was on set watching someone direct, right?
Interesting.
So I never, still to this day, have never been on set and just watched someone else direct. That's a lie, I did it once. But it was a really kind of like, it was just a sit down interview and it was kind of, it wasn't really, so everything that I've done, I've just been guessing.
That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, weird, right? It's like, since we go my sake up.
Incredible though.
Yes. I mean, I doesn't feel it a lot of the time. I'd love to have had someone that would show me the ropes, but
yeah. I want to ask though, with the editing side, how did you learn that skill and
Well, I started learning at uni, but it was great. It was like on Final Cut Pro back in 2012 or something. I kind of knew the basics. I knew kind of how the UI looked, how it's kind of like, layering, canvas, boring, but like how basically the very, very basics of how to do it. Okay. And then that was enough to get me that internship. And then I had I mostly did editing, some video production as well at Capital. And I was sat with a guy named Derek, who I think he was about 10 years older than me at the time. So, and he basically taught me everything I knew. He was a very, very patient man, very quiet, but really, really lovely. And actually it was quite nice in a very masculine and loud environment. It was nice to have Derek, like, he wasn't my boss, but he was like I guess you'd want to say like line manager. Like, I'd work with him most closely, right? Yeah. And he was the lead senior editor and he was so patient. He was so kind. And he really was a nice mentor figure for me at the time. And I've lost touch with him, which is a shame. But
Derek, if you're out there,
I know. Please, I've nothing but messaging me. I don't think he ever saw it. I think he's quite an offline guy, right?
Right.
I don't know where he is now. I know he left that job, but I don't know where he's gone. He was so nice, and he really was so patient and taught me everything I knew about editing.
Oh no!
And so everything else I learned from YouTube, and editing is one of those things that actually it's really quite easy to learn from YouTube. Like, it's a great resource. Yeah. But actually having that in-person base, I still edit the way that he taught me how to do, because it becomes muscle memory with editing. So you've got all these shortcuts and stuff. And I think he changed shortcuts to be his own ones, and I use his ones. Right. It's like, I still edit the way he taught me how to do, right? And he was just like, he was so supportive.
Yeah.
He kind of just taught me everything. And he was a fantastic editor and like really, really, really good. And just,
that's great.
Yeah. I credit him for a lot of like, a lot of the jobs I got afterwards.
Yeah. I was going to ask, so what's the project that when you got into directing that was like, oh, I love this. This is what I want to do. My journey into directing is such a weird one because I didn't really want to, I never thought it was an option for me. Okay. Why is that?
Well, I went to like a standard comprehensive school, Catholic one, but like the standard comprehensive school, it was never even, I did really well at school. And so they were always like, they were like, oh, you could apply for Oxbridge. You could be our first Oxbridge person. Not the first one, but it's like, it wasn't that conversation. For a lot into me, and they were like, oh, you should be a doctor, you should be a lawyer, And my parents are very, very supportive and have never pressured me to do anything.
Oh, I love that.
I didn't want to. They've always been like, you do what you want. Yeah. But live up to your potential, basically. Yeah. So but the message there was from everyone, not from my parents. They would be supportive wherever I did, right? Very lucky in that sense. But the message there is like, go and do a high earning career that's traditional. Mm-hmm. So this is more from school and everything. So it's like doctor, lawyer, standard ones, right?
Yeah.
And so no one ever said, what about a career in the media? Let alone a career in film, and commercial directing. That's not, but you don't even, I just didn't even consider it.
Yeah, it is a shooting for the skies kind of,
right.
kind of drop.
Imagine you watch, I remember the first time I even considered it was watching Spider-Man 2, the old Sam Raimi films. And I was like, what a fun job it must be to make these films.
Yeah.
I thought about it for a minute. I remember sitting in the Odeon in Greenwich and sitting there being like, what, imagine if you could, like, I could make something like this. And I'm like, literally, I just was like, Hollywood just doesn't feel...
It doesn't feel real.
No, and he's like, well, that's... Like, you entertain it for a second, and you're like, well, obviously not. So I didn't even think about it, and then I kind of gradually, slowly got into it for a few different jobs, and I was used to work at Buzzfeed, so I was their first video producer back in the day, in 2015. Yeah, that was my second job. And then I moved to the commercial team there, and that's when I started, like, being a director, even though I'd kind of directed a little bit before that, right? But it was never called director. It's like, oh, you're a video producer.
Yeah.
Right. And so basically you just do everything and direct. And so then I got into, I had a few people that I was working with them they'd been commercial directors, and they were like, oh, this is how you direct. Unfortunately, it was not the way I direct now. And so, you're told, like, so those BuzzFeed days I was being told, and it's not their fault really, but I was being told, you got to do this, you got to do that. This is what and just constantly being like, this is how you direct.
Yeah.
In ways I don't like. It was very forced fun. Mm-hmm. It was very like, you've got to play a game with them before you get onto set, make them feel comfortable. I'm just like, no, this is corny ass. Like, that's not my style.
Yeah.
And it's not this. And so back then, sorry, I've got a massive tangent. I'm leading up to the point. But like, I didn't really like it because I was like, oh, there's a lot of pressure. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But people are telling me how to do it, and it feels instinctively wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So those things I did back then, I don't really care about those. I've still got them somewhere, but like, it wasn't until I got, I did a documentary for Netflix back in 2021.
Okay.
It was a drag documentary. And it was, lovely Rich Hawkins from Netflix. I don't know if you worked with him before, but he's now a big dog director of social at Netflix. Okay. And at the time, I think he was a title lead, and he's big. He's a queer man, big into drag, and he would get me on the edit. I was kind of doing some editing for Netflix at the time,
right?
Because a lot of BuzzFeed people went over to Netflix, and so I got brought on when we all got laid off,
right?
And it kind of brought me over to do some editing work for them.
Oh, nice.
And so I did the show Good I Like to Watch with
Yeah.
There's the Trixie and Catty one in the US.
Yes.
The one in the UK with God bless his soul, rest in peace. Rest in peace. The Vivian Bag of Chips was doing it back in the day, and then Cheryl. Yeah. And then Exchange was on as well. So I edited those. So I wasn't involved in the shoot, but I edited them.
Yeah. I liked those.
Yeah, they were fun. They were good. It's good. Yes.
So
And so I basically they were taking I Like to Watch around the country. This is basically drag queen Gogglebox, right? Those runs. And so took around the country, and Rich said to me, he's like, I know you were interested in directing. Do you want to kind of like do some behind the scenes stuff? And he was, I think in his head, he was thinking kind of like, very small social bits, right? And I kind of cheekily upsold it all the way through. And it ended up becoming a 35-minute documentary about the state of drag after COVID, queer nightlife.
Yeah.
All this stuff. Never done a documentary in my life. And it was me, my lovely friend Alicia, who produced it and edited it in the end as well. And the great DOP called Running the Quillen. Just three of us on the road.
That's
with the Queens.
Just you three.
Just us three. And it was the most amazing experience. It was very stressful. I didn't know what I was doing. But that was the thing that made me fall in love with it, being like, actually, I love the drama, the high stakes, the pressure, So I walked away from that project being like, I've never felt more proud of anything. Because that was the time before that, I was making like kind of, quite disposable stuff for BuzzFeed. So it was like food videos, and it was, do you remember the top-down food videos?
Yes.
With the hands, my hands. Awful job.
Lovely.
Hated it. Thank you very much. But I hated it. I hate working with food. I loved it again. But everything was quite disposable, right? And then this is the first thing where I just like, wow, I actually made something that was like, it showed another side to these queens. It showed their funny side, showed their vulnerable side.
Yeah.
I got to explore how the nightlife industry with its knees after COVID, all in like a 35-minute, quite entertaining, but, thought-provoking doc. And I don't know, I'm not saying it was something that was like, it wasn't profound, but it was, at least it started a conversation, and Netflix, thank God for them, they really supported that project, and they're all really happy with it. And it's like, I feel really lucky that I ever got to be part of that, because the way we just upsold it from like tiny little thing to this big project that they were really happy and really proud of, and they really supported, and it did pretty well online. And it was my first introduction to the Vivian, who is just, I just miss her every day. So I had to work with her quite a lot for Netflix with the Monet, the Doing It series with Monet, and which I directed as well. And just, I would always say, that documentary, I directed before, but that was the first time I believed that I could make it into a career. It was the first time it was the first time I probably got, I will always thank Netflix, the team at Netflix, like Rich, Robin, Gina, like everyone there and Luke Lewis as well, who's left now, but they really believed in me. And it's like, I didn't have any credentials, I didn't really have, but they just knew they just believed I could do it, even more than I could. And so, I still work with them to this day, literally last week. And so, it's the first time I believed I could do it. And I've got a deep reverence for drag. And, I think they are such great artists. And, some of the best shoots I've been on have been with the Viv and Monet. And just, I'd always, I was so sad to hear about, sorry, massive tangent again. I was so sad to hear about the Viv's passing this year, because she was such an inspiration, so lovely. And I think we would have gone on to work together a lot more, I think.
Yeah.
I think that documentary was the first time that I fell in love with it, really.
Yeah.
And I thought I could do it as a career.
I mean, it's an incredible project for it to give that feeling.
Yeah. It's just coming away from it and just being like, it was this deep feeling of satisfaction I'd never had before. Whereas I'd been proud of stuff before, and I was like, oh, this looks great. And, it flows really well.
But when it clicks.
Yeah.
It feels so, so, so different. You come home from it, you're like, I did that.
Yeah, it was the first time I felt some artistry in my work.
Yeah.
It was just like, I came away from it being like, it's a collaborative medium, obviously, but I came away from it being like, that feels like something I put my name on.
Yeah.
It feels like authored in a way that was so satisfying. And I was like, I could do this again. And it was just great. I'd done stuff before, but that was the first time where I really felt, oh, actually, this is the career for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, it took going through a lot of different roles in production to get there.
Yeah. I think it's the patience of it all.
Yeah.
Like, it can take a lot of time.
Longer than you think.
Longer than you think. But if you really love it, it's just like, just give yourself that grace and giving yourself that space. Because when I wanted it in production for so long, thought I had no right to be in production at all. And it was my brother that just kept kind of like niggling in me a little bit about it. And I was like, yeah, cool, fine. And then when I got to the Sidemen, it was like, oh shit, no, I do actually really want to, I do want to do for that. I'm not built for operational manager stuff at all.
Yeah.
But then it was doing the Sidemen charity match at Wembley this year.
Yes, I remember talking to you about that. Yes, this party last year.
That was like, it took me months to come away to be like, oh shit, we did that. Yeah, but I PM'd.
And you did that.
Like, it was incredible. And
what an achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's so silly because it's all something that I didn't talk about it. Like, I didn't tell people. Like, but also you feel like because you feel like you're boring people, don't you? It's like, I don't know if you ever get that, but it's just like when you feel like you're talking, we've got obviously quite objectively quite interesting job. Yeah.
And you end up talking about it and you feel like you're taking up space by talking about it. Do you ever feel?
Always. Because also when I think it's that thing of when you love what you do so much, you can't kind of stop yourself. Yeah. And there's moments I'm like, they don't care. Like, right. Nobody
But often they do.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you get some people who have the most boring jobs ever and they'll go on about it. And you're like, I really don't care about this. At least I'll just...
No, your job, that's the boring.
Yeah, exactly. But the ones that really have the boring jobs are the ones that really on about it. I'm like, God, shut up. You do have to catch yourself, don't you? It's like, you want to cry about your achievements, but it's hard. It's hard to, because you feel like it's being arrogant in a way, or
100%.
or you're just kind of like, Yeah.
But I do think there is that bit, there's still a bit of a stigma in production. Because I think it happened with actors, it still happens with actors now, in the sense of it's like, oh, you're an actor, you've got an ego about blah, 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 blah. I mean, some do, yes. But
I know, I was going to say, actually, like, I find actors incredibly lacking in ego, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you feel the same?
No, when we did the Netflix,
the infomercial, they were also lovely.
I was so nervous to talk to them because I was like, oh God, I know him from some Sex Education. And I was like,
yeah.
I don't know how to approach. I don't know how they're going to kind of react.
How do you think I felt? Being like, I'm going to have to tell them what to do. Like, I honestly, like, I was feeling exactly the same as you were. Like, it was.
And they were the nicest people.
So nice.
I would like,
and
I would go in and be like, do you want a cup of tea? Do you want any snacks? And then it brings down that guard so much.
Yeah.
But then I remember telling my friend about like the shoot that we're doing, all that kind of stuff. And she was like, oh, you just sound like a film person now. Like, I can't tell that if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, I kind of need someone to tell me if I sound like an asshole and talk about my job.
I'm sure you never do. It's just that, but the thing is, us talking about our job is inherently quite interesting. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not for some people. That's me. Yeah, but it's like you can't talk about your job without being like, well, I was working as an actor. Because it actually is what you were doing. It's like you can't just hide it.
And we should be able to talk about it, but with absolute pride.
Yeah, and like I honestly find ego. It's funny that I think a lot of people find that actors, filmmakers, producers, people that work in production have big egos.
Yes,
I think that is true sometimes.
Yeah,
I think it's more true of. I think it sometimes can be more true of. No, actually, I'm not going to say that. Don't worry. I was going to say more technical roles, but like it, I actually find there is a distinct lack of ego. I don't know if they're just being nice to me because I'm the director, but it's like every time I worked with a bunch of actors last week from House of Guinness, and they were the most generous, gentle, kind, just effervescent people I've ever worked with. Honestly, they were just so unbelievably good to what I came away from being like, what a great bunch of people.
Yeah.
And I actually find that the accusation that actors have like really big egos is really unfair because I don't find that to be true.
Yeah.
Ever.
And also we're the ones that work with them a lot. Like I've never had any bad experiences.
No.
Especially I remember when I even started here, I was bricking it and I was so nervous because I did not feel like I had a space here. I felt like I was going to meet people who are bigger in personality and then I'm going to feel dumbed down, all that kind of stuff. I've never worked somewhere we're all just on the same vibe.
Like, that's where the community for
we do lunches. We celebrate people's birthdays. You celebrate people's achievements. Like and you do feel that level of family like within that space. And I never in a million years would have thought production would have been like that. I never felt like, oh, I've never worked in film or TV before. How do I belong here? No one's ever made me feel the way at all. It's more like, how can we support you? What do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's gone to like certain projects with James Byfield, when I really wanted to work on a commercial with him and like little brand stuff with him, I was like, can I jump on that? He was like, yeah.
Legend, love James.
And that's the main thing it's just asking. And I'm learning that more and more. Like it's somewhat ask a question.
Yeah.
Because it's more important that people know you're interested and you're keen instead of you sitting on the sideline just kind of waiting for someone to come up to you. Because, sorry, respectfully,
they're not going to.
They're not going to.
They're not going to. And, it's a lesson for life in general, isn't it? It's just like you've got to ask. You don't ask, you don't get.
Yeah.
So, like, it's about being vulnerable, isn't it? It takes a while to learn how to be vulnerable. And I often find that, speaking of James, we were on a shoot together last week. James is quite like a stoic guy and he's, he's always got it really together and he's like, he's always feels like he's got it under control.
He's always
very calm, very chill.
Yeah.
I am not that when it comes to directing. I think maybe I come across it, but like I'm not. I'm full of self-doubt. I'm bricking it that I'm going to get found out. Imposter syndrome is raging the night before, and the more basically like when people are coming up to when the talent are coming up to set, and I know they're on their way in transit, I'm literally sitting here and I feel my soul going out of my body because I honestly feel like I'm out of my body for the first like hour of every shoot. I feel like I'm not present in my body, because I'm just running on pure adrenaline and fear, and so I don't really feel like I'm actually on the ground. I feel like I'm hovering above myself.
But
James is so, what I say about being vulnerable is that like, I know there are certain people I can trust, right? And I think that's why we end up working with the same people all the time, or at least we build a community as production.
Yeah.
Is that I've been working long enough now that I've got a team of people, or I've got a whole, what's the word? A community, I guess, of people that I will go to that make me feel safe as a director, and that hopefully I make them feel safe also.
Yeah.
And James is someone who hopefully he's listening today. You bet me. Yeah, come on. But he's someone that will, very, very, if I'm freaking out, he'll kind of just be like, don't be so stupid.
Yeah.
And sometimes I need that. So there's two approaches, right? There's one who kind of, I've had both are helpful, where one's kind of like, oh, whatever you need, like, let me talk you down from it. And then you get the other bit person being like, almost like snap out of it.
Yeah.
And James is a bit the second one, and it really works because it's just like you do, he was saying to me, it's like, you got to remember how lucky we are to be in this position. And it in a different way that what, they'd say to you unpaid.
Yeah.
But he's like, we get to have fun for a living. Like, that's just, and sometimes you need that perspective, right?
Yeah.
And it's about being able to, I think it comes with time, being able to, once you've got enough experience, feel vulnerable. And, I go onto set every day as a director, and I never ever go about it like, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I know this, I know that. Which is, I think it's the perception of what directors should be, where it's like, you are creative top dog, and you must have all the answers, and you must know exactly what you get. I don't think that's very collaborative. I was, the best advice I got on directing was, you are center out and not top down.
Oh, I like that.
Which I think is true. Yeah, you are the person everyone goes to for, what do we do here? But you're not the top.
Yeah.
You are the center of which everything else kind of comes out of, but you are not ruling in the top down. I never ever go onto set doing that.
Yeah.
So I think it's being able to be like, I don't know the answer to that. Like, let's, and I think good answers can come from literally anywhere in production. Runner, Sandy, it's anyone. It's just like, we're all working it together, aren't we?
Yeah. Well, that's it. It's we're working together.
Mm-hmm.
It's not this is your department, and this is this, and it's all separate.
Yeah.
All of us have to combine for any of this to work.
Yeah.
Even from the runners, like it all adds up. Like,
some of the best ideas I've heard have come from runners, honestly. Yeah. Like, and I know always listen. And I'm glad that I fostered the environment that they can come up to me and ask me.
Yes.
Because I think some directors, they're probably so fucking terrified of them that they wouldn't go up and ask and say, actually, you've kind of got this bit wrong.
Yeah.
Especially if it's from like, people from different backgrounds, with their sexuality, ethnicity, like there are things that you just don't know and that you need to have, like someone come up to you and feeling empowered to come and say, actually, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
Everyone should feel like they have a say and a voice, right? And it makes the work better.
Yeah.
Because
as much as you think you know everything in that moment, that one person might not see what might be seeing the thing that you're seeing, and that just might adjust things and help.
I've never had that affliction of thinking I know everything. I honestly, I just don't.
You can't. I don't think it's healthy to think that way.
Yeah, a lot of people still there. And it's always the people that don't know anything.
I almost an innate system.
Won't tell me ideas. But it's true, isn't it? That it's like I always go into everything thinking I've got something to prove, but not in the sense of. I feel like I have to prove myself to everyone else.
Yeah.
But I think some people walk out and they're like, everyone has to prove themselves to me. Maybe there's a balance to be had there. But it's tricky.
Tricky. So I want to ask, what are you excited about now? Still being a director in production. What are things that you're within the industry that you're excited that you're seeing, and the projects that you're working on at the minute?
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because I kind of fell into it in a way. And I've only now got the chance to really think about what kind of director do I want to be. Now I've been doing it for, 4 years or so. I feel like I've finally got enough work behind me where I can think, okay, well, what direction do I want to go in? Right? Yeah. And it's funny with the industry that we work in is you're kind of told with commercial that you want to be getting up to like TVC or, 30-second spot, multi-million-pound campaigns and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't find that's really where the most interesting work is happening. I think And I don't think it's where the industry is going either, because I don't watch TV. I don't like.
Yeah, well, YouTube got the biggest streaming.
Oh yeah, exactly. But I YouTube Premium, so like I probably shouldn't say that. But it's like, you know, people. It's one of those things that people pay to skip ads. They will gladly pay to skip ads, right? And we work in the commercial industry.
Yeah,
but the greatest thing is that, you know, we tend to watch ads. We tend to work on stuff that is branded that people actually want to watch, right?
Yeah.
So the biggest thing I've still made to this day was the Viva Monet etiquette lesson.
Yes,
the Bridgerton. Yeah, technically an advert for Bridgerton, right? But it's still something you like. You know, that was a series, 6-part series, of which people, like, literally millions of people watched, and it would, you know, make these big meme accounts like Love of Huns and stuff, and just think that's an advert, but people are actually wanting to go out of their way to watch it.
Yeah,
it's like this new brand entertainment thing, and I think that's where the most interesting work's happening. Where people don't really want to watch the 30-second spots; they want to watch. They don't mind if something's branded, because I think everyone understands that, you know, it's how things get made.
Yeah.
But it's like being subtle about it and like making sure it's the content itself is entertaining. Like, you know, like the Dish podcast for Waitrose.
Yeah,
we do. I actually edited a few of those.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, a few.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where the most interesting work's happening. And I think for a while I was like, I want to get up to this TVC level. But now I'm just like, I kind of love the work that I'm doing, in the sense of like, I feel like I'm kind of making like almost like little TV episodes, but branded.
100%.
Right. It's just House of Guinness stuff I did last week. It's coming out. It's coming out next week. And whenever, I don't know when this drops, but like it'll probably already be out. So go check Netflix's social channels. But you know, it was just us hanging out with the cast in Dublin for the day and doing fun things.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like the whole thing was about smashing the junket. So it's kind of like, it was like taking those boring questions and talking about the show and taking it out onto and getting us to do things. And, you know, it's shot really beautifully, and like I was very happy with how it turned out. And just like stuff like that is much more interesting to me, because I think I am, you know, you get different kind of directors, and I'm a narrative director. Right?
Yeah.
So I'm not someone who's, obviously I love crafting visuals and getting the right shot and stuff. But for me, what really gets me going is crafting a narrative. I think it's because I come from an edit background, right?
Yeah.
Crafting a narrative, performances. I love working with actors. I love working with talent of all kinds. So that is my thing. I love it. So I'm very performance-led. I'm very narrative-led. And so for me, it's like going into TVCs is not that exciting, because even though there's a lot more money in it, I like having creative control.
Yeah.
And I realize a lot in these TVCs, a lot of directors don't have it. And also, I'm just not part of that world. Like I've never come up in it. As if to go into the kind of like almost quite stuffy agency world. It's just, it feels very foreign to me. And so I love working stuff that's a little bit looser, a little bit more relaxed and fun. And, you know, I get to work on stuff where people get to swear, say whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm so used to that kind of work that going to stuff that's really restricted is quite hard for me.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking that, because then surely with the people you're working with, they have that freedom within themselves as well to be themselves a bit more, and not feel so sort of like tied down to, it's got to be this and this and this and that, so that nothing else you can go outside this box.
Yeah. Yeah. And like I've somehow landed as a comedy director, right? Or like my work is generally funny.
Yeah.
I don't consider myself a very funny person.
You are a funny person, naturally. Also,
thank you. But I'm not like a haha jokes stand up. Yeah. Like I tried writing comedy before and I just can't do it. I do think I'm a good comedy director, but only because I trust my talent so implicitly. So that's like, I always say to them, look, here's the stuff. So with all the stuff I did with Viva Monet, right, we're doing it. People would ask me, is that scripted? And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It was all improv. But what I do is I set up the environment. So I'm just like, I set up the activity. So I'm like, here's point A, here's point B. Here's some key beats I'd like you to hit.
Yeah.
How you get there, up to you. I could never write anything as funny as the Viv and Monet say, right? And if I try and feed words to them, which I've tried to do early in my career, it just flops on its ass.
Not natural at all.
No, it's not. And so I'm very, very, very trusting of my talent.
Yeah.
And so I'm just always just like, I want, your performers. I want to give you the space to play and be yourselves and have fun. And that's how good comedy works, right? And I think people forget that when they're trying to be too controlling over it. And it's like, actually with comedy, you've got to let it run free.
Yeah.
And you can be controlling I'm very controlling in how the setups are how it's all kind of like placed. It's like a kind of intricate scene that I kind of wind them up and let them go. I can't remember what point I was going on to. What was the question again?
I even forgot myself.
But that was, I think that's what, it's
having creative freedom.
Yeah. And it's all
for both sides.
I honestly, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, I've been trying to get out to this world, but I just don't think I've got much of an interest in.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's very seductive, isn't it? To go into like the big splashy, flashy stuff. And ultimately, I think narrative is where is where my heart lies.
Yeah.
So more of that, hopefully.
Yeah, I do love the amount of work you've done within the queer community.
Yeah, I mean,
you're like the only director I know.
Oh, really?
It's just like, yeah,
I've done a lot of queer stuff in my day, in my time. Actually, less so weirdly now. I don't know if that's a sign of the times or what, but like it's frustrating because sometimes I feel like for a while I felt like I was getting boxed in.
Yeah,
as a gay director, I felt like they never want me to do drag. No, and it's just like, and I love drag, but I can do more
other things.
I was like, my skill is in directing comedy, not just drag. Like,
yeah,
and a lot of agencies they'll see you as one thing, right? And it's just like, well, no, can you see that I could translate that as comedy skills to something else? And luckily, I've had the infomercial was not queer coded really. It had some to it, but. I've managed to break out of the box a little bit, but I love doing queer stuff, and it's like stuff I always want to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you get frustrated about being pigeonholed, but I always like to spotlight members of the community, and it's so fun. I just think queer people are funnier anyway. Like, so it makes my job a lot easier, right? And and we've got the shorthand and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. How do you feel? How do you work around that not getting pigeonholed though?
With difficulty, actually. It's hard. I mean, it's hard. You have to really believe, you have to really sell yourself. So, obviously I got my breakthrough directing drag queens and love that. But there's only so much work there.
Yeah.
Right? Especially the drag bubble starts to burst. And, it's worse for the queens. Obviously it's hard for them, but, there's only so much you can do. And so like, you just have to knock down doors and just be like, you have to just be like, I can do this. Eventually you get one thing, you're like, okay, we'll use that into the next thing. And, APS have been so good supporting me with that. So it's great. But it's hard. It's hard. I think every director feels pigeonholed. And, if you do car adverts, you do car adverts.
Yeah.
If you do this, you are known for one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
It's why the commercial world, I think it's why the grand entertainment stuff is so appealing to me, because I get to explore and be, I'm a very explorative person, and the idea of being boxed into one genre and one, I'm sounding very Cowboy Carter now, I know, but genre is the construct, but the idea of being boxed into one thing is so, I hate hacking offices. I'm like my mum, I'm very bored very easily.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, right, I've done that. Let's go on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So I go back and work with the queens again, but like it'd have to be something different.
Yeah, I hear that.
I am always looking for the next thing but it's hard in this industry because you are known for one thing and they're like, well, you only do that. So how could you do this? I'm like,
yeah, well, it's like, just take a risk. Like, take a risk on me. Like, let me survive.
It's not transferable. It's not that difficult. Like,
yeah.
I'm actually underselling it. But it's just like sometimes they're like, oh, you've done this comedy, you can't do this. And I'm just like, comedy's really hard, actually.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying I want to go do a car advert, fuck that. But like, there, you do get frustrated with being pigeonholed. And especially when you feel like you're pigeonholed into being, oh, you're the guy who does drag. Are you the guy who does like all the queer films? I'm like, yeah, that's great. And I like doing those. But how many of those are there? Not yet to sustain me for the year. So luckily I've managed to branch out a little bit. But I always try and bring a little bit of queerness into everything I do. It's like, it's, even if there's no queer people on camera and they can't always control it. And you always try to get some like queer, the infomercial we worked on, I feel like was quite good for that. Where it's like there was sort of queer talent behind the camera.
Yes.
From what I remember.
Yeah, it was.
And I always find that, and it was quite, it's quite a balanced set in every way. And I always like that. I don't like there to be too much masculine energy on set.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's important to have that diversity on set, isn't it? Sure.
It's because even that set was probably the first one for me where we had a conversation about pronouns. And it's I still find it interesting that it's like it's not a conversation that comes up as much.
Yeah.
Or it's not. just make it, just so you're aware.
I think it's coming up less as well now.
Yeah.
There was a while where it was starting to come up more, now much less, I would say.
Yeah. I think it's, sadly, it's sort of like a few other movements going on. It kind of boom, 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 boom. And then they're like, oh, they're fine.
Right.
We don't need to keep talking. It's like, no.
Right.
It's still there. It's still relevant. Still have those conversations. Because anytime I hire crew, I try and make it as balanced as possible. I try and make it sure that there's equal opportunity as much as they can.
And it shows,
And making sure that, if they are they, them, or she, he, or da-da-da, it's like, you feel comfortable enough to be able to, what's what I'm thinking of? If someone says something by mistake, you're like, oh, actually, this is my break.
Yeah.
And just having that space. But as someone within behind the camera as well, we should be able to be like, oh, these, respect those pronouns and X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I think there's still these small moments where I see it and they're like, oh yeah, but I'm like, no.
Yeah. It's sadly, it's a frustrating thing. It's like, it feels like it was getting better for a long time, and it's getting worse. I remember when I was at Buzzfeed, and I will drag Buzzfeed because I don't care. I won't drag many other former employees, but okay. I remember when it was 2015, so it was like, I feel like the kind of like the action on diversity was starting to grow, and it was like a good time for it, right? It was all kind of coming up as before Trump, but and they hired a lot of people of color to work at BuzzFeed at the time, so it's very diverse workforce, which was great. But you realize you're just like, they're all kind of hired on the bottom rung, and none of them can move up, and everyone at the top was still like white, mostly straight, but like definitely all white. And you realize that everyone was getting really frustrated. And it was just like, yeah, you hire us, but don't ever give us any. It don't give us any kind of like career development. And these were some of the most talented people I worked with. Like Gina Moore-Barrow, who works at Netflix. I don't know if you've ever worked with her. She is the most incredible person I've ever worked with, probably. And just like, she was getting really frustrated because she's so talented, but she wasn't getting any opportunities, and she moved to Netflix, who kind of valued her. But I'm speaking for her, actually, I shouldn't. But it was just like, it was frustrating to work there, when you just think that diversity, it ends up being kind of like, it's lip service, isn't it? Where it's just like, okay, you're saying you're hiring people of color and giving them opportunities, but actually you're not giving them any career development.
Yeah.
So, and it's like, I may be a gay man, but I'm still like white. So people, I end up getting kind of, I still have that privilege.
Yeah.
Whereas I could recognize that I was kind of like working along these like fantastic writers of color and like directors, and they weren't getting the same opportunities. And you just think it's like BuzzFeed, someone who like prides themselves on diversity and like forward thinking, it's still just lip service, isn't it, at the end of the day? And it's just like, well, are you promoting these people? Are you giving them better roles? And like, with production as well, it's just like, are you giving them career development? And it's like, sadly, it feels like it's getting worse again.
Yeah.
It's
just something that needs to just be pushed at all times.
It does.
People need to stop being so naive that it's like, oh no, they've done the work now. No.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing thing. And there's many, many situations going on as well. It's always going to be an ongoing thing. If we allow ourselves to start moving backwards, it's just going to more work, not even just for us, but like for the next generation.
Yeah.
And then they're going to lose faith in it. They're going to lose faith in the industry they want to get into, the dreams they want to pursue, because they're like, well, actually, it just feels like more work now.
Yeah.
It's like, we should be in a space where we make it a bit easier for them.
Yeah.
To have the confidence to get into these industries.
Yeah. And sadly, it's a lot of the time it's these kind of like higher ups will say, oh, we've got a few black and brown faces on staff now.
Yeah.
And they see that as enough. Where it's like, no, you need to invest in their careers. You need to you need to pay them what they're worth.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and sadly, I just think it's getting worse again, where it's just like, because what happens is these like fantastic, these fantastic workers are just like, they're burning out and just being like, I'm not valued in this industry. Right. And so I don't know if you've had any experience this where you just feel, obviously after party are great. And so like but it's just like, there are some people who are just like, they think, that it's kind of enough to hire people of color, but not actually invest in their career, not pay them what they're worth, and so they end up burning out and leaving the industry and going back to square one. They're like, oh, we tried that, and it's like, it's just shit. It's really shit. You know, it's not fair.
I kind of vowed like a few years ago. I worked in one place. We were in a hiring phase, and I was like, cool. Now we can look at more diverse hires and blah, blah, blah. Everyone that I put forward was a no. Or the people that we end up getting got fired.
Okay.
But at some point, you sit around the office and you're like, I'm the only person of colour here. Yeah. Like, nope, good. I'm out. I'll see you later.
Yeah. And it's sad. It's sad that that's it's still such a big problem. And I don't know how you feel about, you know, working production, being on set. Do you often feel like you are still like the massive minority?
Do you know what? No.
You don't?
Not at all.
That's good.
I'll tell you why.
Hey, tell me why, please.
I would say there was one shoot that I think very early on with APS that I did. And that was very much like I'm a new black woman here. And this is like, I didn't feel like I could speak to anyone or really else. But again, I was still very new.
Yeah.
Come to now, we did a shoot recently. We had all black cam ops. 3 of them were female. We had a non-binary Saudi. We had everyone from every background because, again, if you're on my set, you're going to see different shades. You're going to see different personalities. You're going to see different vibes. And I much prefer having those conversations of like, I want to make you feel safe.
Yeah.
If something happens on set, I'm the person you come to. Because also, I don't give a fuck if it's the DOP or director, whoever. If you've said something that's offended someone in any like shape or form, I don't have a problem calling that person out on it.
Yeah.
Because again, you do have like the sound assistant or whoever. I'm not going to say anything because I'm like, no one here, not even shit. Makes no difference. I want you to feel safe on my set.
Yeah.
That's always been the biggest thing. Like we're doing a shoot soon. And again, I'm trying to just make sure it's as diverse as possible. Even getting more green people on, even as runners or PAs. So, because how else are they going to learn, really?
Well, that's it. If they're not getting the opportunities, they are, you know, it's I mean, it's great that you had like 3 black camera ops. That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, like, that is incredible. And like, did you say three women as well?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And
it's so hard to find, it's so hard to get it's that they like the thing is, you know, there's this myth of like, oh, it's really hard to find women for like the technical roles like DOPs and sounds. It's like, they're out there. You just don't want to hire them.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, I've worked with a few female DOPs now. It's just like,
I haven't worked with one yet.
You know, I worked with one last year called Natalia. She was really good. And it's still so rare. It's so rare. Like but they are out there. They're just not given the opportunity.
Yes.
It's just like, you know, it's a lot of time people see it safer to go with like the man or the white man, you know.
Yes.
And that's not the case.
Yeah.
And I always like to go with people that are really hungry for it as well.
100%.
I think get a much better, rather than getting someone who's experienced and over it. I always have had much better results. You know, my editor, Andre, that I work with a lot, he was quite green. I don't want to speak for him, but like he was not at the level he's at now.
Yeah.
And I got presented a choice between him and a more senior editor, but he got drag and he's a gay man himself. And I was like, no, we got to go for him. He was proper hungry for it. He was like, I'll drop all my work and do this. And it was the best decision I've made. I still work with him since then. So, you know, you've got to take a chance on people. Otherwise, like, what's the point in being in the position of power that you are?
Yeah.
Like, because you've got to pay it forward.
Yeah.
As I should do it more, to be honest, because I think I sometimes get so swept up in the stress of stuff that I'm just like, oh, whatever. But like, you know, I have to check myself sometimes and be like, no, actually, are you looking for new talent? Because now it's funny, now I've made it in this position, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I start to realize you have a responsibility to kind of make sure that other people have the opportunities you had. It's like, you know, it's something I'm thinking about more and more as I'm getting more jobs, being like, okay, can I bring someone onto this?
Yeah.
You know, and...
Yeah, because I mean, I've been very lucky with each of the producers that I have at APS. Anytime we have a shoot and, you know, it's very much like I've got this person in mind, that person. Actually, I know this person. They're really good. They worked on this other shoot. Here's their CV. Here's their show reel. Can I get them on?
Yeah.
I've not been told no once. And it's worked out very, very well. And if it doesn't work out, it's never because of them as a person. It's sometimes they're just not good for that particular project. We'll put them on something else.
Mm-hmm.
But I've I get CVs all the time. I get LinkedIn posts and I will read them and I will go through them.
Yeah.
Because I want to give someone those opportunities. Like, I think, because at the end of the day, if we want to grow within a company, but in the industry, we need these people. We need that fresh talent. We need to make those relationships work and give someone the opportunity to be like, I've given you one step, one foot in the door, go do the rest.
Right. And so otherwise, it's good that you're doing that because, all of these, legacy, bigger companies end up being very pale, very stale. And and just honestly, they just work with the same people over and over again, the same older guys. And the older guys deserve opportunities too. And it's like, whatever, they learn their stripes. But I think the industry is probably going to go through quite a big shake up in the next few years where it's just like the way people are consuming things is so different.
Yeah.
Like they're going to be wanting more of this stuff and more of the stuff that you guys do. And, wanted to tap into those diverse audiences much more. And you've got to meet them where they are.
Yeah, definitely.
And so many people, when you get stuck in your ways after a long time, it's just like, you start looking for it, are you? Just like, what if it's a job? I've got other things going on, but...
Yeah. I think that's the combination I'm trying to make is like, I want to work with someone, a cam-op who's been in the industry for like 30 years and still at the grind doing their thing, and then have someone who's done it for 5 years, learn off each other.
Yeah, 100%.
You've been in this industry for many, many decades. You need to learn from now someone who's maybe 20 years younger than you.
Yeah.
Because it's changing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I love about when you get a DOP on, they get like camera trainees, right?
Yeah.
That's a really good system where it's like, I wish that existed for directors. I guess because the thing is, a first AD is completely different.
Yeah.
It's not really, you're not going up from second to first to primary director. It's like, you go into director straight away.
Yeah.
With nothing else. Yeah. You often come from like, editing or whatever. But it's just like, you need to have those mentors. You need to have that. It's what's so good about DOPs that they can get to be a camera trainee and like, if you're a runner, I guess runner up to producer, right, was quite a nice transition. Not every role has that. And it's like, I think there should be more opportunities to learn on set. And because it's such a high pressure environment, it doesn't feel like you ever, I always say with directing, it's like, it's a craft I cannot practice. Fucking hard that is. If you're, and the same with production, right? You cannot practice it without actually having something to do. But it's like, if you learn a musical instrument, you can practice at home.
Yeah.
For your concert.
Yeah.
For your rehearsals, whatever. If you're directing, producing, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh, I guess I'm learning as I'm getting paid. And which is nice in a way, but also it does mean, I can have 6 months between shoots. And I'm just like, do I remember how to do this?
Yeah.
It's very frustrating. And you don't really get the chances to say, I never really watched anyone else direct. So I'd love to shadow. Maybe I should ask Ben if I can shadow him for a day.
Oh, well, please be in one of our sets.
I'd love that. I'd love to. Do you want to invite me down Monday?
Well, I'm trying to say, oh, no, sorry. I did have a very last question.
Yeah, please.
So this is something I'm trying to put in place. I don't know if it's going to work. But basically, I want to ask if there was two people that you feel like would be a great guest for me to reach out to for this podcast. Who would
oh my God, people that I have worked with?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh God. People that like really are grafters.
Yeah. I mean, I barely.
No. I'm trying to think.
Or just to be fair, it's just someone in the industry that you enjoyed working with, that the roster behind them.
I tell you what, I've worked with such good people in my time. I've been very lucky to have worked with such amazing, talented people.
Yeah.
I would say, so my good friend Alicia Judge, she produced the drag documentary I did and edited it as well. She's a really talented producer, real grafter, kind of does a bit of everything. She's really good. So definitely chat to her. She was great. I can hook you up with her.
Oh, thank you.
She's very talented and it's kind of like she's a presenter and like kind of just done everything. It's like, is someone who just gets stuck in and really like learns their craft. God, who else? I'm trying to think.
And I'm putting you on the spot now.
Yeah, put me on the spot. I'm just trying to go through all of my list in my head. I've got a lot. I mean, Andre, my editor, he's a very hard worker. Very hard, Andre Rodriguez.
To be fair, I haven't had an editor. I haven't spoken to any.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely speak to Andre. He's a very good friend of mine, and kind of person I would say I collaborate with the most. I feel like editors are very unsung, actually.
Yeah.
Even though they're such an integral part of the. They say the first edit of the film, the first draft of the film is in the writing, second draft's in directing, the third's in the editing. Because there can be changes in the edit, and it's just and I used to be one, obviously, and so I know where they come from. They're such hard workers, and they often get lumped with, they're the last stage of production, so they get lumped with with every mistake, the cumulative mistake, the whole thing. And they're often they'll get directors swanning at 5 p.m. being like, I want all these changes and I want it done by 6. And then they just go off for dinner. Yeah, I'm always very, very, with this project I'm on at the moment, I'm always very like, no, I'll get notes to them straight away so they don't have to stay late. I hate the idea of someone working overtime because I didn't go back to them in time. I just don't think it's fair. So yeah, definitely Andre is a good one.
Right.
He's worked to After Party quite a lot as well. I think he directed, he edited, stuff that Eddie did for the football, the Exploding Cake.
Yes.
I think Andre did that one. So he would be a good one to chat to. He loves to talk.
Nice.
He's a real grafter. He's kind of been in the industry for a long time. And I feel like he's finally got his big break. He edited a BAFTA award-winning film last year.
Ooh, what's the film? Do you know?
It's a one called Festival of Slaps.
Okay.
It was about I think it was about a Nigerian family, and it was about this slap that happened. And it goes back, it's really well filmed. It's about this slap, like the mum slaps the kid at the wedding, the adult kid at the wedding, and it goes back into their history. About those things. It's really sweet and it's so nuanced and so great. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
For having me. I think I had the best time. I could talk for another hour.
Also, thank you, because we had technical issues. I've been snotty all day on the whole thing.
I'm used to technical issues. Don't worry. It's like that. That's what I deal with on a daily basis. And I get to set, and it's like, what fires am I? You know what it's like. What fires?
What's happened?
What fires are we putting out today? Have you ever been on set and things haven't gone wrong? No.
Yeah.
I don't think that commercial was about as close as I've been to a no problem set in my life.
Really?
I don't think I've ever had a smoother shoot than that.
Well, Matt, thank you again so much. I cannot wait for you to hear this back, because this has been one of my favorite episodes.
Oh, thank you. It's been so much fun. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And this is The Art of the Graft. Make sure you subscribe, like, and comment. We'll see you again soon.